Most people think Taurus is all about calm, stability, and tranquil romance. But that's just the surface. The controversial side, and one that almost no one dares to admit, is that loving a Taurus activates their inner demons in a brutal way. Not because he's dramatic, not because he creates chaos, but because he gives you exactly what you say you want. And that dismantles you from the inside. The most dangerous part? Taurus love doesn't just touch your life, it touches your shadows. Taurus offers you such intense security that at first, it feels like healing. It feels like rest. It feels like destiny. But when someone gives you too much stability, you begin to realize the extent of your own instabilities. When someone loves you firmly, you finally see the holes you tried to fill with emotional independence. And when someone treats you with honesty, you realize how far you've run from your own. And the inevitable question remains, does Taurus really cause this? Or have you just never dealt with true love? Because when a Taurus touches your soul, they don't just activate passion, they activate fear, attachment, resistance, escape, and everything you've tried to bury. Loving a Taurus is profound and profoundly uncomfortable, and that's exactly why it transforms so much. Taurus captivates in a way that no one notices at first. They arrive with that calm, firm energy that transmits stability even in silence. It's as if their presence says, "Here you can breathe." And this security, so rare nowadays, acts like a spell. The comfort that Taurus offers opens an inner feeling of protection that you didn't even know you desired. And that's exactly where it all begins. The charm lies in its simplicity. Taurus makes the basics seem extraordinary. A steady gaze, a consistent gesture, a truth that doesn't change with mood. This creates an immediate emotional depth, as if the world finally becomes less chaotic. This feeling of secure emotional connection activates your deepest vulnerability, because when someone gives you stability, you realize how much you needed it. It's curious how Taurus awakens desire without haste. It conquers with firmness, with presence, with a constant energy that makes you lower internal defenses that took years to build. This solidity touches your inner demons, those that appear when you feel seen, cared for, welcomed. Because when you receive what you've always wanted, you also perceive the fear of losing it. And it is at this point, when love seems too safe, that duality begins to emerge. Taurus's security attracts you, but it also exposes layers of your shadow that you have kept hidden. And without realizing it, you enter into a type of connection that not only welcomes you, but also activates parts of yourself that you have always tried to avoid. And it is precisely this activation that leads to the next stage of this bond. Loving a Taurus is like looking into an emotional mirror you never asked for but needed to. They love with such intense stability that it begins to reveal their own instabilities. When someone offers you truth, firmness, and constancy, you finally realize the extent of your internal fluctuations. And this awareness, while transformative, also activates your inner demons, especially those you swore were quiet. Taurus sees what you try to hide, not because they are intrusive, but because they perceive subtleties, the change in tone, the averted gaze, the feeling of discomfort when depth is revealed. They see vulnerability with a calmness that disarms any mask. And when someone reads you with such clarity, you begin to observe yourself with more truth. Sometimes, more truth than you can bear. The emotional shock stems from the duality between the comfort he offers and the discomfort of being exposed. Taurus doesn't force conversation, but provokes reflection simply by his presence. He awakens the part of you that wants stability, but also the part that fears giving too much of yourself, because by his side, you feel you can no longer pretend, and facing your own shadow always requires more self-control than you imagine. This silent intensity is what triggers Taurus's deepest fears. Fear of abandonment, fear of rejection, fear of not being enough, fear of losing what finally seems secure. Its energy forces you to look inward, to recognize exactly what you are running from. And this internal confrontation is just the beginning, because Taurus's next move pushes your emotional boundaries even further. This is where Taurus energy truly begins to alter the emotional landscape. Taurus love, so calm and stable at first, slowly gains a firmness that touches your deepest limits. He doesn't possess with words, nor with scenes, but with presence. His presence occupies space, and this presence awakens in you both desire and fear, because the security that calms you also begins to bind you. Taurus shows affection consistently, with care and routine, and this consistency creates emotional dependence before you realize it. It's not toxic, it's ancestral. It's an energy that activates internal memories of belonging, of territory, of this is mine. And when the bond becomes too strong, you feel your inner shadow stirring. The part that fears being abandoned. The part that fears losing what it loves. The part that sabotages itself when something seems too good to be true. Taurus's possessiveness is silent, but you feel it. He observes, notices, and keeps track of everything he sees. He notices when your energy changes, even when you try to hide it. And this level of perception messes with the control you try to have over yourself. Because in fact, you begin to realize that you are more involved than you would like to admit. His intensity activates exactly the inner demons you wanted to keep locked away. And when you try to control the bond, it grows. When you try to distance yourself, the absence hurts. When you try to understand, everything becomes confused. Loving a Taurus awakens an internal conflict between the desire to stay and the need to protect oneself. And this conflict is only the beginning of the emotional cycle it activates. A cycle that consumes you, molds you, challenges you, and traps you. If this topic described you more than you'd like to admit, like, comment, and follow now. The next one will explain why loving a Taurus becomes a battle between staying and running away from yourself. Loving a Taurus becomes a silent battle between what you feel and what you fear. Because while they offer stability, they also awaken what you struggle to hide. Your difficulty trusting, your fear of loss, your resistance to depending on someone. That's where attachment is born. Not out of need, but from the feeling that for the first time someone is giving you exactly what you've been asking the universe for so long, and that scares you more than it should. The bond with Taurus strengthens in everyday life, in the details, in the gestures they repeat unconsciously, and as this firm energy grows, so does their inner shadow. You begin to wonder if you deserve so much care, so much presence, so much truth. And this doubt activates a dangerous emotional mechanism. You want to stay, but you also want to run. You want to surrender, but you also want to protect yourself. The duality that Taurus creates within you is deeper than it seems. The most intense thing is that Taurus doesn't force the bond. It's their own soul that forces it. The more you try to rationalize what you feel, the stronger the attachment becomes. When you try to run away, their energy pulls you back. When you try to get too close, fear makes you retreat. This emotional back and forth is exactly what activates their inner demons. That part of you that never knew how to deal with true love and now doesn't know what to do with it. And that's why loving a Taurus is never simple. It takes you to a place of depth where you grow, but also confront yourself. It gives you stability, but forces you to face your instabilities. It offers you security, but makes you recognize that the greatest struggle was never with it. It was always within yourself. And it's at this point, when you realize that love has become a mirror, that you understand why this sign activates demons you thought were sleeping. After understanding how Taurus activates inner layers you swore you'd overcome, it becomes impossible to emerge from this understanding unchanged. Taurus doesn't just awaken love, it awakens what you try to avoid. It reveals insecurities, ignites fears, stirs up old shadows, and does so without raising its voice, without making a scene, without pressuring you. The question now is, what has this love shown you that you haven't yet had the courage to face? Take a deep breath and think, why did this sign affect you so much? Why did its stability scare you? What part of you tried to run away when, for the first time, someone offered real security? Loving a Taurus isn't for those who live superficially. It's for those who are ready to truly connect with their own heart. And perhaps all this discomfort is exactly what you needed to grow. If this content touched you in any way, made you remember someone, made you look inward, or made you realize that your inner demons didn't come from the other person, but from yourself, then seize this moment. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and keep following. There's still a lot of profound content coming, and it might be exactly what you need to finally understand your own way of loving.